Hello, good morning all. How are you? So today we are going to start our new chapter, that is conditional and looping construct. Till now what we have done, we have created a program that was in a sequence, right? Or we were just using sequence to create our program. For example, we are going to have an input, then we process it, and then we have a simple output. Okay, for example, if we are going to calculate a kinetic energy, then we need to take a input for mass and velocity, then we calculate kinetic energy into some variable, and then we simply print it out. So there is no logical decision making here, right? And today we are going to see how to take a decision, or how our program is going to become more smarter. Okay, for example, if I want to say kinetic energy is not zero, or if you want to verify a input, uh, then we can use a if condition. For example, if we are going to enter a class and user enters a negative class, okay, by default it will accept it. Let's try this one in our Visual Studio Codes. Here is our some program. I'm going to get rid of all this and simply use let's say int and input. Let's have enter class, right? And we are going to store it in C, and let's print this C. Okay, and then let's run this program and check it out. Okay, I'm going to execute this program. So here when I enter 2, that is fine. A student can have a class 2. Okay, now let us rerun this program again, and this time I'm going to specify -90. Now we can easily assume that, or we know that class cannot be negative value. So how to counter this? The answer is to test this variable, and to test this variable we need a if condition. Let's have this if, and let's say C is less than equals to, if it is 1, then we can say valid class, or we can say you have entered valid class, right? And now let's run this, and if I execute this program, you can see now if I specify -90, let's have -90 here and enter it. Now you can see you have entered valid class. Oh, sorry, I should be writing invalid class. Okay, now let's run this program. F1, enter, and now suppose -90. Let's go to Z, and you can see no message. That means we are perfectly fine. And if I execute it once more and specify some negative value, this time let's say -45, now you can check you have entered invalid class. Okay, so this is how we can check it. Now notice one more thing. When I enter a valid value, my program is not responding to it. Okay, but if I specify a negative value, then only it responds to the value. Okay, now this is how. Let's see this. Now you can check out how my program evaluates it. So first of all, I have used a if statement. Here we have used a if C is less than equals to 1, and this, if it is true, it says invalid value. Okay, and when the condition is false, then we do not have any statement here, and it simply goes from here to stop. Okay, now let us try one more thing, and if I specify here, let's print end of the program, end of program, and now execute this piece of a code and execute this one, let's enter some invalid value. This time -3 I'm going to enter, and you will see you have entered invalid class as expected, and then end of the program. So now notice here, this is our if block. Notice I have indented it. If I do not indent it, it will say invalid indentation first thing. And then notice another thing, that this statement is always executed and this one is also always executed, whether or not this condition is true or false. Let's run this one, and now this time we are going to enter some valid value. Let's say class is equals to 7 and enter it. So now you can see end of program here, right? So clearly this statement doesn't execute, right? So this is how a if statement works. Now if you are using a Visual Studio and your console or terminal is filled up, you can try a command cls, and this will clear out a screen. Once again, the command is cls, clear screen. Just enter, it will clear out all your previous outputs, right? So this is how we use a if. But in some time we may need to respond to valid values. Okay, let's say in case of a else, I'm going to specify, let's say you got admission in class, let's say specify the value of class C. Okay, now let us execute this program and see. One more thing, it is looking a little bit awkward, so like this and enter. So enter class. Now I'm going to specify a valid class first, so 5, and then click on enter. Now you can see you got admission in class 5. So when the condition is false, which is in this case, okay, your else part of the program is executed, and if the condition is true, then your this part of the program is executed. Let's enter it. Okay, once again, let's run this program, and this time I'm going to specify some negative value, -9, sorry, my mistake, -9, and see. So you have entered invalid class into end of the program, right? So this is how we can use if and else. One more thing, we can have multiple statement in this if. For example, if I want to specify, please enter a value again, I can specify kindly enter valid value. So you can have n number of statement in the if or else block, right? Now specify some value which is a negative value, -9. Now you can see you entered invalid class, and kindly enter valid value, right? So you can have multiple values. You can declare a variable here also. Let's say we are going to declare a variable v is equals to, let's say, 9, and if I want to print it this, and do not find a logical reason behind this, which I have just done this to show you how we can declare a variable inside the if statement, right? If I try to execute this one and specify some value that is a negative value, again problem is this -9, and specify this. Now you can see my value is printed. Okay, v is printed. So this is how you can do it, right? Now let us see how it works. Okay, so here is our Python if else statement. The syntax for this is we have to write a if, which is a keyword, and then we have to specify a text expression. In our case it was c less than equals to 1, and body of if was invalid value. Okay, and the else, that means if the condition is false, then your program will execute this part of the code. And here my expression was you got admission, right? So Now let us see the flowchart. Test expression is this: if the condition is true, your body of if is executed, and if the condition is false, a body of else is executed. Okay, and let us have one more example. See, in this example we are going to test whether a number is positive or negative. If number is greater than equals to 0, positive or 0, and else negative number. Okay, so this is how we can use if and else. Now previously we have learned how to join two conditions. Okay, for example, if I want to specify whether my class is valid or not, then what I can do, okay, let's get rid of this part. C is greater than equals to 1, that is 1, and then we can specify and C is less than equals to 12. So this is a valid class, otherwise our program should respond like invalid class. Okay, print, let's specify valid class, and else we can specify print, okay, invalid class, right? And if I execute this piece of a code and specify a class which is greater than 12, that is 13, and you can see invalid class. Okay, let's rerun this program again and check it out. If I specify a negative value, that is -10, then also I get a invalid class. Once again, I'm going to specify a valid value 5 and see valid class. So you can join conditions using a logical operators and or, right? So this is all for the day, and let us have some question. The first question is, write a program to find whether given number is odd or even. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to input a number and then you have to check whether the number is odd or even and display it on the screen, right? And the second question is, you have to check or write a program to enter here and check whether the year is leap or not, right? So these will be your two questions. You have to do it in your copy, and that's all for today. Thank you for listening. Bye bye, see you, bye.